Hey guys. Hey guys. All right. I know it's early. Heh. Some of the things that I've seen pop up, I had to do a live. It's got to be addressed. I have to get this out there to you guys. Things are happening so quickly right now. And if you have not gotten your homesteads started, hear me now. Hey, get down. Get down. Hear me now. You are running out of time. Do it now. As much as possible, do it now. Because the window that's open on being able to become self-sufficient is closing. And it's closing quickly. Very quickly. A lot quicker than what we realize. And I'm trying to stay on top of it, and I'm trying to let you guys know, but it is closing very, very quickly. So, I'm gonna get this out there and get some videos started. I'm sweating so bad already. I do have things to do. I have a watermelon to cut. I have watermelon rind pickles to do, and I'm gonna have to do it today. I've got to get it done. I don't really have to go anywhere except the feed store.
And then all of a sudden this week, she's been terrible. Every time I go to milk her, she kicks me. She kicks the milker off. It has been miserable. So I've been putting the cow can't kick on her. This has definitely been a lifesaver. If you don't have one, I definitely suggest getting one if you have cows, milk cows. But I don't know what's wrong. But it's definitely miserable coming out here and getting kicked, and milker getting kicked off. And I don't know why. She was so good. I'm wondering if it's the big bot flies that have been landing on her. She really hates them. Other than that, I don't know.
Okay, sorry. All right, so what I'm gonna do, I am not awake. I'm nowhere near awake right now. Yeah. We won't even go there. I'm tired. We're going to start with yesterday. Let's see, that's it.
They really do want to kill us all. Take this.
This one.
They really do want to.
Is the depopulation plan just started? Scientists warn of a human extinction weapon.
Kill us all. Take this.
So here we go.
Shoot that into you, you dang dirty ape. You useless eater.
And that's how they think of us.
Fresh vegetables kill grandma with diarrhea. Violence,
yep,
death, and die. In their newest attempt to make you hate yourself for being alive, now scientists say that there is evidence being reviewed by government agencies around our world, showing these governments that they must reduce total global population by 50% down to in order to save the future. This newly published study, it argues that humanity must begin the initial phase of removing half of our entire population immediately. There's a goal in mind for a total 4 billion reduction of breeding suckers by the year 2200. In order to reach these goals, the events must begin immediately. They're calling it a pro-nature transition, a model of declined fertility, small
Okay,
families,
so
production, global consumption.
I'm gonna let this play. What is in the way?
Those remaining in more crowded urban areas.
I am sorry.
I want you to remember who is actually doing this. While the French people
My
died
picture.
from heat wave strokes, the political leadership reportedly told them
Stop
that
it,
it was
take
illegal for them to
upstairs.
install brand new air conditioning units from inside of their political leadership conditioned buildings and have the AC. In Canada, it's illegal to have a window AC unit for your aging parents just to control their climate. You eat processed meals so that they can eat whole grains.
You said we gotta turn this a little bit.
Well, theirs was grown on bacteria-free grass, butchered by top-tier chefs in climate-controlled rooms, protected from both airborne and cross-contaminants. Now that I think about it, I've been wondering why all of a sudden it
I
seems
can't
like
do
all
much
their
about
plans
the,
have been kicked into overdrive or kicked into high gear. 6G to set up
Yeah.
radar across the world. AI to read your thoughts.
I can't do much about
Nurses
the
fighting each other over shifts
glare.
and hours, and the cost of living
I am sorry, you
so bad it
guys.
makes the cost of dying an appealing pill for the masses to swallow. And we're sitting here in shock at the speed at which they're moving. Now, in the documentation that the government is reading, on its face, no one is calling for open mass extermination. But it's sure what it looks like to me. You force a migratory change in populations so that the majority are already used to living in squalor and violence and death on the streets. You alter the economic development capabilities of the remaining so that they start to feel the pinch of ostracization. The powers that be, those people that are in control, they'll fight an ear-covered tooth and never grind the nail for their place on the leaderboard. They'll do this so that they can live out their dreams of a future that doesn't include you. Now, we've seen as governments, academics, and powerful institutions discuss humans primarily being the environmental burden.
12 by
The
16.
word that they always seem to use is voluntary. When it's written into these steps that they're willing for you to take, it's voluntary. But voluntary disappears very quickly. And I'm most concerned that all of the proposals that are supposed to reduce suffering are going to be used to justify a determination that it's you that's consuming too much. You're reproducing too rapidly, and you're standing in the way of a clean future, which will or maybe already has been a future in which they remain in power. Because the people in power believe that it's either their blood-given or God-given right to control the rest of us. But us useless eaters will be left not good enough to eat the manure that they spray their pristine organic crops with. And what I'm seeing right now is a mutation of world-saving features that's just eco-fascism wrapped up in college indoctrination and government-funded studies. And there's a growing belief that I'm hearing about, even from friends and family, where they're just repeating the parrot line that protecting nature and safeguarding resources or preserving national stability, they say that these are justifiable reasons to pursue an authoritarian control over human life. The central problem isn't that the world is suffering from absolute inability to feed its population. What we are suffering from is war and poverty, waste, weak infrastructure, disrupted trade, and grotesquely unequal access to a free quality of life. And then look at what just happened. Artificial intelligence alerts were just sent out to government agencies after it was confirmed that AI was already being used to design brand new viruses that are fully functional and can replicate inside of human tissue. US researchers say that this marks the first time whole genomes have been successfully designed by AI and grown. These 16 novel viruses are bacteriophages. Samuel King is a Stanford computational biologist and bioengineer, says that you should think of these creations as genomic robots that hijack our biology, able to replicate, and since they don't generate their own energy and they can't reproduce on their own because they're not made of cells, they're driven by a ruthless set of pre-programmed instructions that are forced to multiply inside of the human body at all costs. And since their genomes are simple, they're easier for mankind to tinker with and more ambitious humans to create. Now, in the study, the researchers used an AI model that's called EVO, like evolution. Scientists say that the work raises important biosafety, biocontaminant, and biosecurity considerations, and they're now urging the entire world to put stops into place. Now they're designing whole genomes in a safety and security professional project that might wipe out all of humanity. The ability to compose these viral genomes using generative AI like ChatGPT now exists, and the government cannot steer us in a safe direction. The models were trained on genetic data from 2 million bacteriophages. The genetic code for the viruses are able to infect plants and humans and other animals. And they say that nothing has been excluded from the AI's training. Nothing has been done to reduce the risk of designed dangerous viruses. And these AI generated thousands of potential genomes from which the researchers selected up to 300 to make inside of the laboratory. You were just dropped into bacteria, reading the genetic code and churning out new viruses able to infect the entire world. Now, in a quoted warning, they say that these genomes encode new pathogens that cannot be contained by existing countermeasures. Tom Ellis is a professor of synthetic genome engineering at the Imperial College of London, and he just warned that this work reveals new and hidden dangers unknown to humanity before this time. So we have an AI trained on the genetic code of dangerous bugs, able to be used to design more harmful viruses. Controlling access to this data and having restrictions in place is nowhere nearby. No one's looking for help. The governments, they say, are working hard to do this already.
My little mousey.
But they warned the threat from a full AI designed and written genome of a virus or bacteria is well known. It's a present danger that no existing pathogen has ever seen. And they're using gain-of-function changes to the genomes, and they say it's so much easier, and it's more likely to be a real and pathogenic threat. This isn't the first time that population control has repeatedly been presented to the world as science, or even acts of compassion or acts of economic necessity. Look at India in the year 1975 under an emergency. Fear of overpopulation produced one of history's largest sterilization campaigns, where millions of men were coerced to undergoing vasectomies, often under intense economic or government pressure or coercion. And then we see populations defining the people as the enemy, and governments start looking for you as the target. And at first, the policies are going to appear harmless. We'll just throw some birth control out there. Maybe don't get married yet. They'll give tax incentives for families, public campaigns to control childbirth, and then the pressure is going to increase, and we're going to see farmers in rural families in the poorer countries around our world being blamed for ecological abuse that is caused disproportionately by industrial systems for wealthy consumers. And eventually, citizens are going to find that personal reproduction is a matter of government permission rather than a free right of being a human being. And powerful institutions are already debating the future with billions fewer of you. At the exact same moment that artificial intelligence is demonstrating an ability to design functional viral genomes capable of wiping out billions of you. Scientists are warning that these researchers are beginning to build population-killing viruses, putting unprecedented biological power into the hands of governments, corporations, and enemy states. And if an AI system is ever capable of designing a pathogen that is engineered to spread through humans, made to evade existing countermeasures, and already we see it exploiting vulnerabilities in particular populations, then population reduction and control isn't just a capability anymore. Not even though it has consequences measured in millions of lives. It's a nightmare that I see brewing right now.
To be a very dangerous person. Let me introduce you to Larry Ronaldo Rao, who's 46. His family reported to us and confirmed what we saw on his vehicle, that he is an Uber driver. That's what his family said. And we saw a Uber sign in his front windshield. But that's not why we were looking for him. We were looking for him because the license plate reader said, hey,
Who
this
cares?
guy's got an outstanding warrant for
Who
violation of
cares?
probation.
Sorry, guys.
Our deputies were
Shut up. All right. The next
They
one
really do want to kill
is from 2 p.m.
drone that was discovered
yesterday.
in a prominent
Breaking explosive drone found NATO
German airport.
border breached, Russian missiles and terror fears.
Loaded with military munitions. And according to confidential police reports and anti-terror groups, the ammunition was probably brought in from France to the airport shortly beforehand, and it could have been intended either for onward shipment or to be used to make an attack on the German homeland. Now there, the police notes report that contact between the drone operator and employees were noted, after which the device came to the ground. The airport's drone detection centers didn't even register it beforehand. And Germany's federal interior minister, that's Alexander Dobrindt, he described the case as a new level of hybrid attacks, adding that the drones have been modified to bypass all known countermeasures.
All right, sorry,
It wasn't
guys.
even 2 days ago that I told you drones were coming.
Stuff was falling out of the
Poland's
cover.
foreign minister just warned America and NATO allies that it's now time for Poland and other NATO countries to begin shooting down Russian missiles that are intended to strike Ukrainian territory, and they must do this before the missiles have a chance to strike NATO. This draws in an immediate possibility for a nuclear element to enter into this world at war. Now, according to lawmakers, they say that governments, including the USA, must immediately reopen the discussion to shoot down Russian missiles over Ukrainian territory, and they have to do this before these missiles have the capability to approach NATO's borders. It's a politically and militarily sensitive initiative because Moscow sees the interception as direct NATO participation. And government leaders are warning that Russia's capability to hit Ukraine with over 100 different ballistic missiles for several consecutive days is now a question of whether it's better to accept the interception of these missiles over Ukrainian territory rather than perhaps waiting and seeing them strike Poland directly or Germany or another NATO country. Now, commenting on the prospects of a more widespread war, we just saw Sikorsky argue that the United States of America must increase pressure on Russia immediately or risk wider conflict. They say that one of the effective tools is the legislation named after the late Senator Lindsey Graham, documentation that provides for the expansion of existing restrictions and protocols, the potential implementation of a tariff of 100% on 5 of Russia's largest buyers of oil and gas. Measures targeting Russia's shadow fleet are also being discussed, and the expansion of sanctions against Iran. He says countries face tariffs, well, as far as they know, on Russia. This must be done. Just saw an admission from the Russian military that they are capable of repeatedly launching missiles and drone after drone in Ukraine, as well as their new capability to target civilian and critical infrastructure. Ukraine's air defenses rely on more text mining. Their forces continue to repel some of the attacks, but Russian ballistic missiles remain a major challenge for the country's air defense system. During an overnight attack that we just saw August 6th, Russia launched 4 missiles and 101 attack drones. Ukraine forces say that they were able to neutralize 66 of the drones, but dozens of strikes still recorded. A day earlier, August 5th, Russia launched 28 missiles and over 100 drones, and the air defenses failed to intercept any of the ballistic missile systems. Most of the drones didn't reach their intended targets, but they still reached Ukraine. Military analysts say that Russia is capable of maintaining this high level of intense strikes over a prolonged period, and it shows that NATO has to be ready. The Russian Foreign Ministry ambassador, a collaborator from occupied Luhansk, he acknowledged in an interview with Russian outlet TASS that Russia's war against Ukraine will continue for the foreseeable future. Now, they used familiar Russian...
Sorry there's such a glare on the TV, you guys.
Using Europe on seeking to derail any possibility of reaching a peace agreement, and adding that Russia must prepare for prolonged hostilities with a very well thought out strategy before things go nuclear. The Russian president and named Supreme Commander in Chief Vladimir Putin, he just held a meeting with their defense ministry leadership. At this meeting, they announced army reshuffling. He did this inside of the Special Military Operations Zone, anointed Colonel General Andriy Ivaniev, the head of Battle Group Center. Battle Group Center operates in the military operations zone. Putin says that Battle Group Center is the leading unit, carrying out the most important and critical strikes and tasks in the liberation of the People's Republic. The question of who will lead the group and who will command it is not simple. Putin says they are asking Andrei to take this role, assume command of this sector, this line of engagement, and get ready for something much larger to happen. Now, the Russian leader did emphasize that it is crucial at this time that the quality of combat operations inside of the sector, what they call the line of engagement, not be compromised.
I really hope you guys can see how important it is to get things in order now.
We'll be able to
get homesteads started, get them set up to be able to live completely off grid. We're not there yet either. I am going to do another video, even if I have to do it on my phone. And it's how to
as of August
get water out of thin air or something like that.
Disabled military vessels.
Tired.
They've also boarded commandeered too. According to Mohammed Akraminia, the command continues its efforts inside of Iran to enhance combat capacity. It will restore.
I guess I was hoping it wouldn't get to this point this quickly.
Relies on domestic capability. The army, he says, is in full combat readiness. The command continues its efforts to enhance combat capacity to restore the systems by the United States of America.
Chloe's wedding.
Introduce new and enemy-killing equipment to rely on their ability to produce even more. The newly delivered equipment has already entered service. Military assets have been deployed in line with modern operational requirements. And according to Iran's YGC news agency, they're saying that things are about to pop off. Now, the Pentagon just developed a new nuclear concept. There's an emphasis now for the argument that they could.
It's probably going to be a fairly long video because
not just in Iran,
I'm doing these ones first, just because of the fact that I feel like they're so important.
Anonymous government agencies.
And then we're going to go back and cover some of the other ones.
Policy, Elbridge Colby says that now there is an approach similar to the so-called escalate in order to de-escalate concept that was aimed at assuring U.S. allies.
Oh, goodness.
Washington was fully prepared to employ the whole
try to get myself
military capabilities in their defense. And we can now use nuclear weapons. This approach, they say, however, entails significant global risk. Now, Colby is a longtime and firm supporter of the concept of these controlled nuclear escalations. They view them as structured and reversible process events. the director of strategic analysis and forecasting sector at the Center for International Security of the Russian Academy of Sciences, the Institute of World Economy and International Relations, says that the key here is to strengthen nuclear deterrence by the United States of America in the deployment of usable nuclear weapons. That way, if the deterrence fails, they could reestablish control through the limited use of nuclear weapons. So we see the exact events playing out that I've been warning you about. This morning's broadcast, we talked about them wanting to reduce population by 50%. Talked about AI making new viruses that are capable of reducing the population by 50%. We're talking about the use of nuclear weapons. And we're talking about a world that is fully engulfed by war. You will have friends and family that tell you nothing ever happens because they're unwilling to look at the things that are happening every single day. And whether your personal SHTF event is today, or whether you're surviving the hordes of people who were unwilling to be prepared, we must begin to get ready right now.
Stop it! Quit. Where's Mousy?
When most people think of homesteading, the picture a farmhouse, acres of land, a big red barn tucked away in the country. And honestly, if I'm telling the truth, that is absolutely our dream someday too. But we are also a young family in our starter home, trying to be wise with our money. We're not ready to jump into something that we can't comfortably afford just to see.
Okay, sorry, you guys.
So while we continue to save for that dream someday, I do not want to wait to start living.
All right, so this one is from this morning.
Something is seriously wrong in the American economy. I'm very concerned that there are millions of Americans in complete denial about just how bad this situation is about to get. I already told you that JP Morgan, Citibank, and Wells Fargo are positioning themselves for a complete economic crash. And then like them, people like Warren Buffett continue to hold and build cash positions so that some of the largest financial institutions paying the smartest people to keep their companies out of the red.
Okay, guys, I'm going to start working on our breakfast.
You and I should be terrified.
So I'm going to be in and out.
Around us, Americans are dying out here, trying to afford groceries and rent, mortgage, insurance, and basic needs of human life. Now, this is scary to me because I believe that based on the movements of the largest institutions, America buying and building enough weapons to power the locking down of our entire country, and the new continuity of government plans that are coming online, I believe that for them to be getting ready to this level, something big is about to pop. And I think that all of the signs signal to me that we're getting dangerously close to the point where the United States economy takes a bigger dump in the bowl than the morbidly obese pop star Lizzo. You don't have to know a single thing about the economy to be able to look around and know what's going on. You don't have to be an economist. You can have 2 cents worth of knowledge and $100 worth of opinion, and you still can't lie to yourself about the crash that we're going through. If you go to the gas station, I'm watching people and how they behave when their money gets tight. The same people that used to walk in, slap a 20 down and say, give me $20 on pump 3 or pump 4, are now starting to put $5 or $10. They're literally just buying enough gasoline to get to work because they're more concerned about not having enough money to do it again tomorrow. There's a single economic term that is at play here: contraction. And we have more contraction happening inside of our economy.
Unfortunately, that's where we've been money-wise.
Wading into ice water. And in some way, people believe that the absolute force flock that the government is telling them that this is the best economy that America has ever had.
Yeah. Well,
median household income in 1970 was $8,700. against $23,000 to buy a new house. So with that in mind, 2.7 years of median household income could pay off your house. That means that you could go and work a second full-time job for just 2 years of your life at the average income and pay off your house. The median price of a new home 2026 is $400,000. And today, when you factor in the average cost of living, if someone pays all of their rent, pays all of their bills, it would take them between 12 and 30 years of working their life away to a second job just to pay off a mortgage on a new house.
Yep.
That's contraction. Now, many Americans can't even afford to buy a week's worth of groceries at a time. And this is at a time that the government lies to us and says we're in the best economy ever. You better start preparing right now to be poor. Your job is looking to replace you. And your competitor, if you operate your own business, is looking to put you out of business right now. And I keep wondering just how far they can push us before revolution hits the street. But then I remember that the people in power have case studies: Cuba, Venezuela, India, Vietnam, Pakistan, and countless other countries to look at. Did you know that every morning in Cuba, the employed men wake up, they get dressed for work, knowing that the worst part of their job isn't the hours, it's that their monthly salary disappears as soon as they get it. An ordinary state worker earns a few US dollars per month. They have inflation, shortages, a completely foobarred currency system that has pushed the street price of basic necessities beyond what any official wage can cover. So for their rice, cooking oil, soap, medicine, these are calculations and not purchases, because a single broken refrigerator puts them out on the street. And then our government looks at the Philippines, and depending on the region there, workers bring home wages that translate into roughly around a couple $100s a month. But if you rent a place near the employable districts, and you pay electricity and food and transportation, it takes away your paycheck. If you move closer, the higher cost of rent purchases you, and if you move further away, the higher cost of transportation steals your money. Now in the Philippines, they buy their rice by the sack, which is smart. But they barely eat meat because it's something they have to budget. One crisis demolishes it. And then our government looks at India. India is one of the world's fastest growing economies, where an ordinary salaried worker earns tens of thousands of rupees per month. But then the cost of housing erodes an enormous share of the median salary. You got groceries, electricity, just like here. Now the juice here is that they can push you a lot further. And they're trying to. And the scary part is what's going to happen when tens of millions of Americans start to realize all of these issues at the same time. Then we have a much bigger problem. The official economic numbers aren't telling us that we're in a Great Depression because they moved the bar. There are warning signs, and the warning signs that you can look at should make you feel very uncomfortable. This is exactly how the Great Depression became what it was. People remember 1929 because it had a stock market crash. But what really made the Great Depression so unbelievably destructive, and what caused the actual nightmare that Americans felt, was what happened after. People got scared. They stopped purchasing. And then businesses started losing customers. Those same businesses losing customers cut production because they weren't selling anything. And then that didn't work, so they had to cut hours, and then they fired the workers. And then the workers had less money to put back into the economy, so they stopped buying things. It was a cycle. And this cycle repeated itself over and over again. Economically, it's called a death spiral. And I know that we're going into that right now. If 50 million Americans inside the USA households decide that they're only going to buy food, gasoline, and absolute necessities, then our businesses are going to shut their doors faster than a politician leaving a whorehouse.
Yep.
And then the rest of this starts moving quickly. Look at what happened in 1981 and 1982. Americans were beaten bloody by inflation for years. And then what did the Fed do? The Federal Reserve attacked inflation with higher interest rates.
I know you guys are probably
That's something we're
tired
about
of
to do right now.
hearing the same stuff.
Unemployment approached 11%.
I'm not going to apologize for that.
Crush,
Uh,
construction.
this is the
just
stuff that's
never
going on.
Buying a new car was as far away as the Pope's chance of getting into heaven. According to the Federal Reserve
I like that.
historical
That's
account,
funny.
goods producing industries make up about 30% of employment, but it suffered 90% of total job loss. And then when you take a consumer who is, like most of our American brothers and sisters, struggling with prices, and you pile on expensive credit and unemployment on top of them, people tighten up. And then recently, 2008, you probably remember because you lived through it. And you remember exactly how quickly everything changed, because before the crash, people, no matter their economic position, they felt relatively wealthy. Their houses were appreciating. There was credit everywhere. People borrowed against their homes. They were buying new cars, taking lavish vacations, and they were spending this money because everybody assumed that tomorrow was going to be better than today. Then the machine stopped. Housing prices collapsed like they are right now. Banks failed. Credit froze and businesses closed. Real people lost their real jobs. GDP fell between the fourth quarter of 2007 and the second quarter of 2009, where unemployment hit double digits, and the average house price inside of the USA fell roughly 30% from its peak at the time. And then the rich got hit, and the S&P 500 lost about 60% between 2007 and 2009. And it didn't start in some apocalyptic. You just knew a neighbor that lost a job, and then you had a family member that couldn't find work. And then somebody that you knew, they lost their house. Next to the restaurant down the road closed. And then another one closed. And then the employer started calling everybody into the meeting room and saying it's unfortunate that we should delay a certain number of months. And today we still have people spending ridiculous amounts of money because they want to maintain an appearance that tomorrow is going to be okay, even though it's not. They're buying groceries and vehicles, vacations. They think everything has to be a luxury, or whatever it makes them feel better about themselves, feel like the upper class. And if you get right, don't get me wrong, that's your own business. I'm proud of you. But 80% of your friends and family don't. And the first stage of a serious contraction, people lining up at the food pantries, which we have, or empty tables. It's people canceling their Netflix. They're eating their leftovers. And this one hits me close to home. They're paying their own washing machine. Sales are winding down. Companies are stopping hiring. And then over time disappears, and temporary workers disappear. They thin out the hours, and then they cut
Bear
them
puked on the
because
microphone.
fear
I
is
know.
harder.
And then she knocked both
Because
the
people
water
are afraid
and
of
her
becoming
food dish on the floor.
And then when you multiply this mentality across millions of households, we are looking at right now, 2026 USA, a serious economic problem. Prepare to be poor. And I don't mean slightly inconvenienced. Prepare to be real poor. And if you're like me and ever been dirt poor before, you know what that means. Make your food stretch. Prepare the things yourself, because replacing them isn't an option anymore. Prepare yourself right now, mentally, because your time is a focus. If you're able to, you should build a cash reserve and keep food inside of your house, maintain your own vehicle, and take care of the things that you already own. We have very fun months right up ahead.
Yep.
Well, you wouldn't know it, but 4 days ago we had a huge snow.
Okay, guys. So I don't know how much I can stress how important it is to get on this stuff. I know how far behind we are. We're about 25, 26 years behind. I can tell you that right now. We should have started this back in 2000. I had 2 little kids. We had just moved in here in February. I should have thought about it and worked on mom and dad and convinced them to let us homestead. I wish I would have. I didn't have the influences then that I did now, or that I did starting back in 2018. YouTube really wasn't much of a thing back then. I wasn't thinking about, I should have been thinking about the health of my family and how I was raised. I messed up. Because I messed up, we have a lot to catch up on. In a very short time, I have very little money. So, get down. Get down. Now, we're running out of time. Extremely quickly. Get down. It's so important for us to. Now I gotta get all this stuff taken care of. I'm sorry, it looks like crap over here. I've had so many other pressing things. It's so important for us to have this knowledge base. Books. It's probably the best way to go right now. Like $25 will get you a book a week, a book a paycheck. If you can afford 2, then get 2. Get a full homesteading library that covers everything. Whether you do everything or not, no one can do everything. But get the full homesteading library that covers everything so all your bases are covered, okay? It's the best way to go. Use what you have. Get scrap wood. Build what you can. It's the cheapest way to go. Just make sure that you do things correctly. I don't know how much more I can stress this. It's so important, you guys. Every single detail. All right, so we're going to move on to Riverside. They're warning other states now.
The PIO, the Public Information Officer for the California-based team that's commanding.
And 60,000 people homeless in a city, about to get worse. Experts warn Washington to take precaution as wildfire smoke worsens air quality.
There are fears today the fires in Washington state could get even worse as weather conditions worsen. 3 fires near Spokane are still burning out of control after destroying hundreds of buildings, including homes.
I thought we've seen enough, right? Actually says wildfires burning in Washington state could.
Okay, I'm gonna go work on potatoes.
Still burning around Spokane, Washington.
For part of our breakfast.
More than 10,000 acres. They started on Saturday, August 1st. Since then, more than 700 structures have been destroyed. The PIO, the Public Information Officer for the California-based team that's commanding firefighting operations, spoke on how those conditions have changed since their containment efforts began.
It is supposed to get worse. Are you serious? Oh, and guess what? Power cut to thousands. Evacuations remain as crews work to contain historic wildfires raging in the Northwest. You guys see all of the power that's getting cut. a lot of speculation these days on why these fires are actually igniting. I know that there's a couple people that they have as suspects, but you dig around and there's definitely some other analogies on what the heck is going on. This being one of them. Easy preparedness. Actually, should we start this video? Notification bell so you guys can stay up to date. It must be happy. You just want to know what's crazy? Same time last year, in Washington State, level 3 evacuation. Guess what's going on now? More threatening wildfires. Is some of these states in the daggone United States just going to completely burn up? Now, before I show you some updates on this fire right now, because I know you guys are all looking at updates, like this one right here, Leavenworth. It's a little Bavarian town close to Wenatchee on the other side of the Cascades from Seattle, Washington. A lot of people go there. Leavenworth air quality going outside is equal to smoking 6 cigarettes. So if you guys aren't a smoker, I mean, you might want to consider a thing or two. I want to show you guys a link here in a little bit. It's going to show you exactly what the air quality is in your guys' area. It's going to be a really good tool. And for those of you guys in Washington, actually, let me show you this real quick because it's going to get worse. Experts warn Washingtonians to take precautions as wildfire smoke worsens the air quality. This is what you guys have to look forward to. Even going into the weekend and probably next week.
Taking live looks all around the Puget Sound area on this Como weather-worn day. Wildfire smoke is once again lowering our air quality across the state. This has become an all too familiar scene in the summertime. Good evening, I'm Molly Shannon.
And I'm Preston Phillips. An air quality alert is in effect for parts of the region and is prompting health concerns for millions of people. This is a live look at the Washington State Department of Ecology's air quality map, and you can see the air quality ranges from moderate here in western Washington to unhealthy in parts of eastern Washington and hazardous in the Wenatchee area, registering at more than 400.
Seattle's getting a little bit of the smoke, but folks on the other side, I'm talking about Penasket, Terrace, Chelan, Wenatchee, Yakima, Quincy, anything east of the mountains, Spokane, Washington, good Lord. A lot of places seeing the highest damaging air quality that they have ever seen. But before we get into that, I want to show you guys something because this came across me, and just for entertainment purposes only, of course. But this is something that's going around the web as what some people think that is causing this fire. And I want to know what you guys think about this type of perspective. And after that, I'll be showing you guys this tool to be able to see what type of inequality you guys have coming down the pipe, because things are about to get really bad. Seriously, I got so much to show you guys, including a guy on his roof that's about ready to get engulfed in the flames. But let's watch what this guy has to say, because this is one of the things that's floating all over the internet, and it might just be some crazy theory. I can't tell you that this is true, but I can tell you that this is definitely a viral trend. You guys can let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Watch this.
Since we've been hit on these fires in Washington, looks like the Palisades, looks like Lahaina. The government and electric companies are notorious for burning down cities. And we're going to talk about that today. So someone will probably say it's climate change, but let's read this one. Forest fire as a military weapon. U.S. Department of Agriculture. So let's just say the government didn't do it, but a smart meter did it. You see how that house is burned right here, but these plants are all perfectly green? And those trees? The government and electric companies are notorious for burning down cities. And we're going to talk about that today. So someone will probably say it's climate change, but let's read this one. Forest fire as a military weapon. U.S. Department of Agriculture. So let's just say the government didn't do it, but a smart meter did it. You see how that house is burned right here, but these plants are all perfectly green? And those trees? That's because when smart meters catch on fire, that's exactly what they look like. See all these? All over the country. 90 million smart meters across the country. And it just so happens the city meter reader testifies at California Public Utilities Commission Santa Rosa. They can't do this and they can't keep burning down Silver City across the nation and then calling it climate change and writing books about climate change. Yada, yada, yada. Love you all. And the smart meters are also in Canada too. Just so
No.
you're aware, and they make your bill 4 times the price.
Okay.
You guys are gonna have your thoughts on that. Like I said, this is a perspective that's being floated around the internet right now. I cannot tell you on this platform that that is true, but I can tell you that that's definitely an interesting thing to do a rabbit hole dive on. Again, right here, I mean, it's getting worse, and they're saying it's.
You know, it's awfully funny, guys, that they're talking about the fires that are started by the smart meters. And then they want to put everybody in 15-minute smart cities. If those smart meters and all that kind of stuff starts fires and the whole depopulation agenda, what do you think is going to happen in those 15-minute cities? Think they're not going to use something to hit a button or whatever and start a fire and wipe the entire thing out? Fight against this. Do not give up your homestead. Do not give up your rural property. Fight against the data centers. Don't give in, because that's what they want. Stand up for yourself, for your family. Protect your family. Protect your homestead. Don't give in.
Getting worse. Power cut to thousands. Evacuations remain as crews work to contain historic wildfire raging in the Northwest that has been very, very closely related to the one that happened in Hawaii and Palisades. Interesting, right? This one right here is a big city in Washington. This is 2 hours from our homestead, and we've got one even closer, right? So this one right here, I mean, 60,000 people evacuated. Look at this guy. This guy is on his house spraying the roof, and the flames are about ready to take him out. Check it out.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Look at that street. Look at this house. Oh my God, they're all done, dude. Yeah, fight your shit, dude. You gotta fight for your shit, dude. That one house was just like cut on fire. Oh my God. If I was not still right now, I'd find them.
See the guy standing on his roof? I mean, this thing could get taken in the next couple minutes. And then you hear stuff exploding in the background. Probably
Not good.
tanks,
Not good,
everything
guys.
else. Huge explosions. This guy is holding down the dang fort.
Okay, fighting. Come on now. We got secret right up street like oh my God. But I know, dude, this is horrible. This is bad. We're going.
Fire department came by and said, "You need to get out of here." That's crazy, guys. I mean, those houses, it's almost like they're pinpointed, like they're going to burn. And that black smoke looked real bad. This right here is what it's looking like in Lake Chelan. This is not even like 15 minutes from our homestead. This photo was taken from Manson, Washington, right there at Lake Chelan, where the AQI is 233. Some monitors in Chelan are recording AQI at 346. Now, I've heard numbers way higher than this. Let me show you guys here in just a minute a tool that you guys can go around and look at actual numbers and know what's supposed to be perceived with that. It'll be really helpful if you guys are in the area or in the state or even any of these other states that are burning up. It's absolutely wild. And if you guys are in the Spokane Valley or anywhere near, this is from Cairo 7, we are not going to be downgrading these zones in any large way for many more days to come. Sheriff John Nowlees said, "We have many, many encounters with citizens who are angry. They're trying to push past. We really need to have this kind of behavior stopped." And right here on the post, it says Spokane County Sheriff says evacuations won't be lifted for many, many more days. This right here is a map of Washington. Those aren't clouds, folks. That's all smoke. It says yet another smoky morning across all of Washington state today. You can see that the smoke is settled into the western Washington mountain valleys now, and air quality is horrible across much of the area. And what does the Northwest have to look forward to? Not good. Right here, just in, weather warning upgrade for central and eastern Washington and north central Oregon for Friday, Saturday. Dangerous fire weather conditions will develop, allowing wildfires to spread quickly. So listen, we aren't even at the weekend, and they're already saying that this will get worse. This right here is a great image. I've been through several wildfires, and this is kind of what it feels like and looks like. The wildfire smoke blanketing the Wenatchee Valley is not only causing issues for residents, it's also preventing air resources from aiding the fire against the Little Giant Fire. This is a completely different fire that is out of control, and they use the Columbia River to dip into, and honestly, from the highway, you could hardly see the Columbia River, and it runs right next to it. Came across this post, and I want to show you this before I show you this website that shows you the air quality. It says, do you know how hot a fire has to be to pulverize concrete blocks and brown bricks into ash? It's 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit. And with that temperature, it takes at least 4 hours to do it. It says, eat a natural open wood fire in the world that burns that hot. They burn at around 750 to 1100 degrees Fahrenheit. Even extreme wind aided. This is what I'm telling you. Campfire coals, you're lucky to hit like 200 degrees. To do some of this damage is happening on these homes is upwards of 3,000 degrees. And when you have a pine tree sitting next to the house, it still has its needles on it. You need to start asking some questions, because to melt the glass and to melt the concrete and to melt the metal, no ponderosa pine heavy sapling tree is going to be standing right next to the wall. It even says wood fires will only get to 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. A directed heat weapon like a laser burns that hot almost instantly. Some of these people are suggesting that it's almost like a directed energy with an A type of thing that's possibly capable of doing something like this. And I'm sure these guys are not correct. Just put it down in the comments what you guys think. It says some type of tool kind of like this. Can go to 7,000 degrees, and concrete and bricks pulverized almost instantly. 7,000 degrees of wood stick house would disintegrate into ash in minutes. Kind of like what we saw almost in some cases. Whatever is going on with these wildfires, in quotes, isn't natural and hasn't been since the why something is doing this. This is a lot of people are thinking. If you guys think these things are telling the truth, just put it down in the comments. Let me know what you think about their opinion. Some people are saying a laser or a microwave could do it, but no way to match. In some gas cans. They go in to talk about, the power utility company, upcoming data centers, and a bunch of other stuff. Another interesting side note, do you know who is significant shareholder of Pacific Gas and Electric power utility that would be paid for supplying power in the Palisades, California? That'd be the big V company, or the big old Blackstone company. Says, look it up for yourself. It's in public records. This person's opinion is, it would seem that the wildfires, land buyout, power utilities, data centrals are owned by the same guys. And another nugget this guy throws in is, who do you think is trying to buy up all the land that was destroyed in the Lahaina wildfire? The big V company and the big Blackstone company. He says, look it up in public records. So in this case, people that need the land, want the land, the old data centers, they're going to get it one way or another. In this type of analogy, it says similar burn patterns in 3 different locations at 3 different times, and every area that has been destroyed has one group interested in the outcome.
Gosh.
The big V and the
Get
big
overslept.
B group.
There's no one
it
at
says
work
tighten
right
up
now.
the old tinfoil hat, because things are about to get real interesting. As a lot of times when things they tell us, they say the storms are going to get worse. So buckle up Make sure you
Something
guys are
that-
prepared.
I
I'll
almost
keep
say,
an eye on all this stuff. Like it's.
We're
gonna switch it up. We've got recalls coming up, stuff that you're buying at the stores.
Some scandalous things happening in the stores. We'll cover a few other things in the coming days. Nonetheless, I'm going to keep you guys updated on what I think you need to know. Make sure you guys have the notification bells on when you're still subscribed. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Please share this. Hit the like button. It helps the channel. And keep up and keep learning. Keep doing it. We'll see you guys on the next one.
All right, now I will get that girl.
We'll watch. Me and Scott will watch this later. Okay. So I don't know what you guys think, and I know there's nobody on here right now, and I know it's early. I'm gonna beat these stupid cats. Not literally, you guys, but I'm kind of pissed because they've been on my computer. Come on, thank you. Stupid cats. All right. I don't know what you guys think. Like I said, I know there's nobody on here, and I'm kind of mad about that. I don't know whether to be mad at my subscribers or YouTube. Probably YouTube, because YouTube is stupid and they tend to hide people's videos, especially when they're working with important stuff like this. I feel like almost all I can do is literally like individually send this to everybody. Which I guess if I have to do it, I'll do that. Even if it's to all my subscribers. So what are you guys doing to ensure your own family's security? What are you guys doing? Because you got to do something. Now, if you live in a wildfire in one of the fire regions, I don't know what your money situation is like. I know what ours is like. I know what we want to do. It's best to look around for another homesteading option somewhere. I know that if it's a family property, you're probably not going to want to leave it. I mean, ours is a family property. I just don't like where our house is positioned. I hate it this close to the road. I love the fact that it was the property that I grew up on. But I kind of feel like you can't be so attached to where you grew up that you're not willing to change if necessary. So, what are you going to do? I would highly recommend getting on Land Search or someplace like that and looking into buying a new place if it's at all possible. I am going to be looking into getting into my art full time. I did kind of come up with a solution on a job. I'm just gonna have to change my visionary, I guess. The only thing I could do would be in the morning, and I'd have to be out by like noon. So it wouldn't even be able to be much. So I don't know. We'll just have to see. the fires. They're absolutely being set on purpose. You heard what he said. There's no way a wood fire burns that hot. They're literally setting these fires on purpose to burn out residential homes and homesteads, farms, businesses, so they can build their 15-minute cities. You watch, this is what's going to start happening in California and in Hawaii. Keep your eye out. I'll keep my eye out too. Like and share these videos, you guys. No, I'm not going to end the video right now. Please like and share the videos. I'm going to share them with everybody I possibly can. I'm not going to leave it up to YouTube, because YouTube sucks when it comes to that, especially when it comes to real information. We are going to start looking into buying a camper trailer to put on the property. I'm going to try to go into art full time. See what I can do about that. I'm going to get my website taken care of. I don't know if I'm really going to DoorDash much anymore. It's just not worth it to me. I can't really, I don't know. I'm not really getting hardly anything out of it. So, I don't know. I'm going to look into getting my business started. Store is open. You guys, please help me get the information out there. You guys, this got to get your homesteads going. You have to. It's vitally important to your life, to the life of your family. Vitally important. Unless you want to end up living in a 15-minute city being controlled by the government. And then you're also looking at heading towards the mark of the beast. And that if you don't have it, you're dead. Well, unless you know what to do. But the most important thing is, you guys, it's not just not accepting the mark. It's, have you accepted Jesus Christ as your personal Lord and Savior? If not, I don't even feel worthy enough to witness, because my life is not a great testimony right now. I screw up daily, okay? Daily. These last few days have been an emotional, mental nightmare for me. But this is what God has called us to do. It's to witness to the world. And that's part of what he called me to use this channel for. And I got to get on Seekers of the Truth, and I've got to start doing that. I've been very overwhelmed, I'll admit it, because we have so much to do, and I'm just feel like I'm at my wit's end, you know. I'm having a rough time. Like the laundry, and most of this I have to rewash. I won't go into that. It's just cats. And I don't really have anywhere to store anything, because the dresser drawers, we got to get them cleaned out. I haven't had time to deal with it. And you know, Aaron would be like, well, that's the whole homesteading gardening. No, you know what? Priorities. You know, you got to keep your priorities straight. What's important to, you know, like your life, as far as, you know, your family and your health and your gardens, your homestead, that's vitally important. You know what I mean? So we got to get this stuff going, and Try not to be afraid. I can't sit here and honestly say I haven't been, but I'm still plugging forward. And that's what's important. You just have to keep going, no matter what. And for me, it's, I know I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. I know I can. So, anyway, here we go. The next one is going to be Patrick Humphrey. And this one is, ouch.
This is big breaking news. It just happened. We just.
Okay. So this changes everything.
News. It just happened.
Ow.
We just reached the tipping point, and we just broke a record.
I feel like there was something in my finger.
And 30 to 40 million people are now going to be affected. They're going to see prices go up, and they're going to see scarcity. And they're going to see cuts as well, and potentially even rationing. So let's get into all the details here. You guys can see this is a picture of Lake Mead from today, Friday, August 7th.
This is terrible.
Yesterday, Lake Mead.
Get your own water figured out for your homestead, your gardens, your animals, your family, your house.
Lake Mead, nation's largest.
You don't want to have to depend on an outside source for your water. We're in the same boat, believe me.
It's only 5 feet away from the power turning off. You guys can see here, this is coming from the Bureau of Reclamation. And you guys can see on day 6 for Lake Mead elevation, down to the line there, it says 1,040 feet, 0.5.
Somehow there's something in my pinky
that we just crossed. And this is critical. If you get to 1,035,
I'm gonna plant some. So like 55 days, guys. You still have time. You still have time to garden.
This is also a picture of, or a video of.
Where's my mousey?
Right, this was just posted today, August 7th. And it says here, this is the lowest I've ever seen Lake Powell. Lake Powell is upstream on the Colorado River for the Glen Canyon Dam of Lake Mead, and all of the upstream reservoirs are completely empty. We're going to have more details of that. I also have 10 big facts that people are going to be affected by that we'll get to in just a second. You can see this is coming from the Bureau of Reclamation itself. Recent technical assessments show that older turbines are expected to sustain severe cavitation damage below Lake Mead's elevation of 1,035 feet. Updated operational data indicated that at 1,035 feet, Hoover Dam's capability or capacity could drop from earlier estimates of 1,302 megawatts to just 382 megawatts. Wide head turbines, however, can continue operating at levels near 950 feet without excessive damage, extending the dam's ability to generate power even under critically low reservoir conditions. This is huge, though. We're looking at losing 1,000 megawatts, and this is going to happen in the next few months. It's estimated, right? It's only 5 feet away. It's at 1,040 feet. And once it gets to 1,035 feet, these generators will turn off. And we will see massive voltage issues, also price increases in lower basin states, especially like Arizona, Nevada, and parts of California are all going to be heavily hit by this. All right. You guys can see here one of the nation's largest hydropower facilities. Hoover Dam historically has delivered up to 2,074 megawatts, supplying roughly 1.3 million people across the Southwest. Due to unprecedented drought, generation has decreased by 30%, and it's about to decrease even more. And this is a major warning for lower basin states. You guys can see here, upper basin reservoirs are empty right now. This is Lake Granby, right? This is Arapahoe campground. The boat ramp for it is completely dried up. This is Arapahoe Bay, and it's normally completely underwater, and it's dry right now.
right? So Lake Granby, which is at the headwaters of the Colorado River, it's one of the main reservoirs and main lakes, along with Grand Lake, that creates the flow of the Colorado River. And it is running dry right now, you guys can see. And the dam, the water levels at the dam are extremely low as well. All right, so you guys can see here's another one. This is Green Mountain Reservoir in Heaney, Colorado. This is 10 or 15 miles from the Colorado River, and it normally fills up from the Blue River. So the Blue River and the Colorado River merge just 10 or 15 miles down from Green Mountain Reservoir. And you can see the Blue River is just flowing to the bottom of the reservoir right now instead of filling up. It's normally filled up to the line where the grass is over here. And it's empty right now. And this never happens. It's normally never empty like this, much less in July and August. Normally these reservoirs are at their highest levels in July and at their lowest levels that we've seen on record. So this is very concerning. You guys can see here's another one, Williams Fork Reservoir. This is miles away from the Colorado River as well, and merges with the Colorado River. The Williams Fork River comes out of Arapahoe National Forest and merges with the Colorado.
I think cupcakes are absolutely.
That fills it up before it merges. Look, it's dry. This whole area is
I don't want to, but she's
underwater. The water was 150 feet walking down from where the line normally is. All right, this is very concerning. We've never seen these reservoirs at these levels. Even locals, ranchers, and
Okay, guys.
never seen Williams Fork Reservoir.
I have to run out and grab some fresh herbs.
And it's July. It's normally supposed to be at its highest level. It's supposed to be right after all of the snow melt and all the snowpack melted, and all the creeks and streams are supposed to be full. Rivers are supposed to be full, and then they kind of dwindle out until later in winter they start to fill up again. There's some snow and there's small amounts of snow melt that fills them up again. But I've never seen these reservoirs.
I will be right back.
And they should be at their highest levels. So this is a major warning for Lake Mead and Lake Powell, because these reservoirs have essentially been releasing their water to fill up Lake Mead and Lake Powell. But there's no more water to release anymore. Even Flaming Gorge Reservoir has been released. It's at a third of its capacity right now, and it was full earlier this year. And all these different reservoirs across the West are drained. There's nothing left to give. And the water flows are essentially going to dwindle by later this year. So there's going to be more water flowing out of Lake Mead than there is flowing in. That's already happening right now. That's why the water levels keep going. But that difference is going to significantly increase very soon. And here are 10 key facts about Lake Mead and the Colorado River and the situation right now. So a critical shortage condition is going into effect at the end of 2026, starting in 2027. This is going to reduce the delivery of 1.5 million acre feet to lower basin states. All right. And it's saying that the 3 states must absorb 1.2 million acre feet in mandatory cuts each year. All right, so major changes are coming. Arizona takes the largest cut at 760,000 acre feet per year, all right, which is around 27%. California, mandatory reduction is 440,000 acre feet per year. And Nevada is having a mandatory reduction of 50,000 acre feet per year. Mexico is expected to have a 250,000 acre feet reduction, and it's going to deepen shortages as much as 3 million acre feet per year in later years if the drought continues. So they're at around 1.5 million right now. That could double to 3 billion in the next few years individually. People are going to face water price increases. They're going to face water restrictions as well. They're going to face mandatory outdoor watering restrictions. There could even be limits on new development as well, where you're not allowed to build apartments or high density housing due to water issues. And there could be a lot more conservation rules where you just can't use your water to even garden or things like that. Those rules already exist in places like Colorado. You have to have special exemptions for your well and for your water to use it for gardening. Right. And last but not least, there's going to be major cuts to agricultural production, especially in Arizona's central Arizona project service area and western Arizona as well, along the border with California, are going to get hit extremely hard. And they are going to have their junior water rights tested, right? Because a lot of areas in Arizona have junior water rights to places in California. All right. So California agricultural farmers tend to have more senior water rights for the Colorado River. So they're still taking cuts, but they're not taking the biggest cuts. And a lot of their water will be secured. So that's how it's going to work is as the allocation shrinks, as the amount of water that's available shrinks, they are going to start cutting people off that have junior rights and giving that water to people that have senior rights, right? So they have a call for water and they have to take the water from somewhere. So they take it from people that are lower down on the totem pole, essentially, right? So let me know what you guys think down below. I hope you guys are staying safe, staying prepared, staying stocked up, staying ready. Hope you guys have good blessings for your life and your family. And I hope you have a very blessed day.
I'm doing so much now. I feel bad. Are you okay in the heat though?
Sorry to bother you, man. I actually always drop a line. I actually make YouTube videos where I cut grass for free. If that's something you'd be interested in, I'd love to tackle your property for you. Yeah, it's totally free. I just make videos out of it if you're good with that.
No, let's go.
I'm gonna get all the edges back and I'll cut the grass.
No.
Oh, it's a stand on mower. I'll get it all cleaned up for you.
Hey,
All right, man. I appreciate it. Yes, sir. All right, guys. So as you see, the grass is completely overtaking the sidewalk. You can see little bitty pieces of sidewalk. So it's going to be a guessing game to get started, but I'm excited to see this before and after. So let's get to it.
Hi, Amy. Just a second, I'll take it as soon as we talk.
Okay, hang on a second. All right. So,
This is big freaking news.
oh, shush. We're gonna go back to full spectrum real quick. Hold on. Give me a second, Amy. 5 in the morning.
For more than 80 years.
Okay, that's too long ago. Okay, there it is. This one is from just a couple days ago. It's breaking final warning. America is one star away from chaos. And there's only one thing. He says there's only one thing that scares me.
The 89 million angry men in the USA aged 16 to 50.
There we go.
You know what scares me?
All right, now
What's going to happen when the 89 million angry men in the USA aged 16 to 55 wake up and they realize that they've been simping for a life that the government told them that they needed to want in a fake sale of the American dream? That exact instance, when they wake up, they're going to lose their freaking minds. There's an estimated 393 million force multipliers in the hands of American citizens who have slept on the fact that their right to own these types of tools was a fought in blood and paid for in suffering contractual obligation that was given to them by strong men hundreds of years before them, so that they would never be left unable to protect themselves or the things that were being fought for at the time. To protect men, women, and the defenseless against an oppressive force that would enslave them. It's 2026. That oppressive force has enslaved you, and it's happened with such slow encroachment and under the supervision of tutelage of masterminds in psychology that the powers of that be have used a method of submission called shifting baseline syndrome. This is a manipulation tool in which each new generation is told to accept their current state as normal. They're told to accept this by the government, rewriting history in the image of the future that the government wants to control, pushing a new generation to forget just how different the conditions of life and the contracts of social order used to be in the past. Now, research suggests that over 900 million rounds of ammunition exist in the private hands inside of the United States. So 90 million men holding on to 400 million force multipliers backed by the throughput of 900 million rounds of ammunition suddenly being pressed too far against an invisible, ever-shifting wall. It's making the possibility that the men and women of the United States of America, they have reached their breaking point, a very real reality. So what happens when they all reach this point of no return at the exact same time? In psychology, it's called sociological equation. It's frightening, especially when we're looking at the world we see right now. The sociological condition studied and published by Emily Durkheim in the late 19th century, it proves that there are shifts that can happen without warning in shared consciousness. According to the work that has been performed even into modern psychology, there is a nationally shared moral and cultural framework that influences just how people behave. And that framework can shift when it's placed under pressure, or it can shift at random moments in history. For the most part of our world's history, capital punishment was completely normal. It was a legitimate expression of justice, with law enforcement using beheadings, burnings, and other forms of execution in order to issue ultimate judgment. And the wives and children came along for the show. They did this because it was well understood to be a public right. In Europe and inside of the United States of America, there's an influx of individuals from societies where abuse of women is not just normal, it's a marital right. And half of our country would be considered subservient to the other half without anyone left to stand up for them. when hate-filled and wrong acts are performed upon them. These are just two examples. But you can see just how society views an act or an event and how it can shift from one generation to another or one way when given enough time or put under enough pressure. And I hate to be the one to tell you this, but we're going through another shift right now. The founding fathers of the United States of America worked hard to guarantee that citizens would be treated without a formal caste or class system.
Yeah, boy.
And yet one has been created. Earlier, I said the words, the powers that be. And that's colloquial for a group of elites that control what the not elites do. Jeff Bezos pays little to no taxes, you pay a lot. They have parties on islands where they perform horrendous acts, and others, like Fauchenstein, can plead the fifth against testimony to wrongdoing. And if you try to do that, they're going to put your behind in prison, get your guts rearranged by a new kind of modern age girlfriend. Yeah. Before you learn to lean up against the wall. Our foundation inside of this country was built with one safeguard in mind. If the shoe hits the fan hard enough, there's always another way to go about these sociological conditions. And it sucks to know that right now we're right about there. Your brothers and sisters have to normalize how in a 3-year period, they went from walking carts full of food out of Capital Mart for $100 to barely being able to carry out a bag that costs $150. And people are struggling to afford their groceries, their housing, their insurance, everyday necessities. And there hasn't even been enough of that generational gap to let the new kids on the block think that the unks are just complaining about how great things used to be in the unk time. They're seeing it with their own eyes. They're seeing that just a couple of months ago, and definitely a couple of years ago, the cards that were being dealt out weren't nearly as bad as the cards that are being dealt out right now. And I believe the government knows this. I believe that they understand that a line has been crossed. But in true 2026 new capitalist nature that has been corrupted by greed and malice, they can't pump the brakes and take it back. Think about all the shareholders, man. Once social cognition wakes up to the 90 million men and 80-some million women of fighting age with enough burden that they are willing to remember the faces of their fathers, we're going to see a country that becomes immensely violent, incredibly quick. What's going to happen when almost 200 million force multiplier tootin' rootin' Americans wake up to the frustration that we have been force-fed, each and every one of them deciding through an unknown mechanism of sociological conditioning? Millions of people who are already frustrated, deciding all at once that they've had enough. Because when emotions replace judgment, we know that crowds become unpredictable. And rumors spread fast, and people make decisions that they never thought they would make in the past. And ordinary families are caught up in situations that they never wanted to be a part of. That's when sociological conditioning says it's time for change. And that change is not going to be peaceful. It's going to be the start to a series of events that lasts years long, filled with horrors, and filled with real things that go bump in the night. I believe that we are entering into that time right now where we have no time left before a sociological change takes place inside of the United States of America. In understanding that as soon as an event happens and people start to wake up and whole, a lot of people are like, oh, brother, I wish you would wake up. Oh, I wish my sister would wake up to this. Oh, I wish my mother would wake up to this. No, you don't. Because as soon as they wake up, everybody wakes up. And the moment that everybody wakes up, they say, hold on, I'm starting to remember why this country was created. I'm starting to remember why I have constitutional rights. I'm starting to remember why the Constitution asked for a certain group of people to defend the country against tyranny. And then they put on their glasses of awakenedness and they look around the world that sits around them and they say, we're here. We're already in tyranny. I paid off my mortgage. The state takes my house. I drive 3 miles over the speed limit. I get a ticket. Somebody's limiting the speed, not limiting my ability to drive safe. Each one of these things we have normalized through that generational gap that's slowing the day is pushed on the American people. Just every year you try to push a little bit more.
Nebula, what are you doing?
Could you imagine our founding fathers sitting there having just shed blood for this nation and saying we envision a future in which a small group of Karens gets together in a neighborhood and tells one person who is owning a piece of land that they have to put up a fence that is just yay high. And they can't have a mailbox that has the American flag on it. And no, they can't grow food outside. And if a car shows up that isn't registered to belong there, we get to tow it away. Absolutely not. The founding fathers are literally turning in their graves. And when a lot of people say that they wish everyone would wake up, I don't, because I know it's going to be scary.
You have to buy the $3.99 and up seed packets, or are the 50-cent Dollar General seeds perfectly fine? I wanted to find out, so I planted my entire vegetable garden for the year with only Dollar General seeds. What were my results? Are they just as good as the expensive seeds? Are Dollar General seeds worth it? Let's find out together. These are the Dollar General seeds from the American Seed Company. So you get 2 packs for $1. And there were some microgreens, 4 grams of microgreens for $1. I grabbed it through those. So you get 50 cents a pack. And I opened this jack-o'-lantern pumpkin, and there's only 10 seeds in there. That's not a lot, but it is only 50 cents per pack. So if you're looking to start a garden, this is a very good option. They had 11 cucumbers.
Wow. You know what scares me? It's what's going to happen when the 89.
Yeah.
Another town, 60,000 people, homeless. We know about all the fires. We know about Spokane, Washington fire. A lot of people ask, is it really a wildfire? That's probably some of the things they're not talking about. So many people saying Lahaina, Maui all over again. Dig into it, and it makes you sick to your stomach. As many of you know, a fast-moving fire tore through neighborhoods so quickly that many residents had almost no time to evacuate. Police going door to door. Hundreds of homes reduced to ash, and I'm talking everything melting to a crisp, flattening them within hours. Kind of like Maui, firefighters nowhere to be seen. Now, there's a lot of interesting things, a lot of coincidences. Let's go through each of them one by one.
You guys should pass a policy that puts a ban on data centers in our county, because we have real problems.
She sounds like a fall guy, probably not a lot of defense. And if I recall right, completely hooded. I never saw any face, but people said they saw him. Matches on a lighter, and the whole town goes up in hyperspeed. Not everyone's buying it. So it brings us back to that question: who benefits from Spokane burning up?
Secret discussions with a company to build a massive data center in the area. The company in question is Apricus Energy Solutions. It has no record of building anything before, only 11 employees, but somehow they were ready to build a 1,000-watt data center in this area. When the plan came under fire...
Sorry, you guys. This is... Why is everyone comparing the Spokane fire to Lahaina?
Emails show he held secret Zoom calls with the CEO of Apricus, who was pushing for tax breaks for the project. Residents hated this plan, and just weeks before the town burned down, the county commissioners were considering banning data centers altogether.
Temporary 9-month moratorium.
Lovely.
Yes, trying to really understand the potential impacts of these facilities before they're built and make sure that responsible rules are in place first.
So now, remember, this is for entertainment purposes only. Listening to some people's theories, that's it. But a lot of people are saying now that half of the town is gone, there just might be quite a few data centers on the horizon.
How convenient is it that now in the same area that they were going to build the data center up north, there's a huge fire burning. Do you know what eminent domain is? Eminent domain allows the state or the government to seize pieces of land and repurpose them for public use, but there are requirements that have to have been met in order for them to do this. Now, conveniently, if land is burnt and ravaged by a wildfire, private property, the government is then allowed to seize that land and use it to build data centers.
These are the viral videos that are going around like crazy. Some crazy theories, right? Or what is really going on.
So
I wanna show you
people
some
watch
theories
out
to the Lahaina fire and the
in
Spokane,
areas
Washington
surrounding
fire.
your home areas.
This morning.
If
Stop by that place.
they want to put up a data center, and I'm saying still stand up, still oppose it,
Cars.
but be on the lookout. Have that other property to go to if you need to, because there's a possibility of them burning out the area just so they can build their data center.
Two matching up.
Problem.
Stabbing P, three split window.
Shut up. I like this.
Everything in lifetime. It's
I
gone.
feel like it's in your muscle.
Feels like it's on my ribs.
This is really a parkland.
It's probably how you say it.
A lot of people questioning why
Happens
stuff
to- if you're
melts
sitting like
completely
this,
around. I'm talking
It
about
stretches
windows,
this whole area.
frames, cars, wheels and tires. 5 feet from a ponderosa pine tree that barely looks burnt. Complete neighborhoods burnt to the ground. Not even a toilet left over with pine trees still standing in between the burnt houses, almost like homes were targeted. Now, I don't know if I have time to show one video of CNN reporting this. They are coming out really heavily defending.
Start
the fact
looking
that
for your
some
second
trees just
property.
don't burn. But right now, I'm talking about ponderosa pine trees,
walk
the
around.
same ones that are in this picture.
Don't
are
be there.
touched
Get out.
barely, but also
Yeah.
the same ones that are getting completely devastated by the wildfire that's coming through the mountains. Not having a problem taking care of them there as this fire moves through with rapid pace. But a house has time to burn into absolutely nothing. I'm telling you guys, these trees in between these houses have superpowers. All right, now let me show you this video that's going to kind of really show you a lot of similarities with the Lahaina fire and Spokane fire. It's pretty crazy. In fact, the whole AI data center thing, like I also came across this. It says, if you are not living here where the fire is happening, please do not try and tell me that the fire is not burning the area of where the data center was going, because it is burning in that area. I'm from here and I know what I'm talking about. And it says right here, both massive hyperscale data center known as that name right there was planned for 514 acres site on the West Plains. There's the address next to Medical Lake Highway, near Hayford Road. And I mean, I'm pretty sure that's probably accurate if you guys look it up. Kind of crazy, right? I mean, there's a billion and trillion dollar deals out there that these things are popping up everywhere. I was told by someone that there's like 1 or 2 per every single county scheduled in like the next year or something. It is wild. I might be wrong on the timing, but for every single county, I think that's worth looking into. So anyway, we can chalk this up to an opinion, just a theory, but let's listen to what this guy has to say about what he's kind of been digging into.
It just made no sense to me. I've got a background of cooking on campfires from sea level to 13,000 feet in the Sierra, and everything burns in a tiny campfire. And this is a horrific firestorm, they said. Why are all the trees still there?
Yeah, exactly.
They don't recognize the organics, even though they're super hot. They seem to be much hotter than our regular wood fires, but for whatever reason, they're not recognizing organics. They turn everything brown. They suck the water out of it like it's in a microwave.
Got your second property.
Even brown, a light shaded green, but it will not ignite them unless they're in close proximity to metals. Oh, it has to be in close proximity to your metals, whether they're ferrous or non-ferrous, like aluminum. Your creek beds around here in California, I've noticed, for water-loving trees have burned from the inside out. You know,
Comes like in a microwave, and these are willows,
It is so important.
alders, birch, maple, madrone.
And if you can afford more than one,
Even the leaves
get
on the ground.
2 extra ones.
Pines and more flammable trees are doing the same, but at a slower rate, even though the sap in many pines is more combustible than the water lovers by far. The needles will be brown everywhere, but they're not burned up. White ash. Where's the black? Where's the carbon? So you're thinking intense heat. Well, why are all the trees still there? A palm tree is easy to light on fire. They burn up in a second. They're like grass. They're thin. They'll burn in seconds. Yeah, I look at them. They're kind of super wilted. They turn black. There's a black color to all these dead trees. If it doesn't ignite, these leaves just kind of wilt and turn dark colors. Another anomaly. They should all have been gone. With this kind of heat, everything should have been gone. Should have been stumps of trees. That didn't happen.
And it should be black, not white.
That's right. Every house I've seen burn up, all of them have been burned to the ground of white ash. I have not seen much of any black anywhere. Everything else is completely gone.
Yeah, the toilet, the fridge, the stove, which I've seen, houses and the stove is there. It doesn't go to ash.
That's right. This is the giant banyan tree I've heard about. Here you have a fire all the way around it. Even the boats were on fire. After the fire,
This is an already established homestead.
Hurrying roots through down. Sagging and black, not necessarily burned up. Here's a wood pole to your left. Whether it's a split, I think it was lifetime. It was so hot I forgot to burn the wood. Dry wood. Dead trees I've noticed that are dead before the fires, they're not burning. There's no moisture. It's the whole hood got so hot, the metal hood melted out. That's pushing 2,750 degrees. 2 fire captains I know of. They say they've never seen vehicles in their whole career like this. Windows that have never melted. They might break.
I actually really like this one.
Break, shatter, fall out, but they don't melt. It's 2,500 degrees and up. They start to melt at 25. So what could do that? You don't have enough fuel in this Jeep. I don't mean gasoline. I mean the fuels, the plastics, the seats, the cushions. All that isn't enough to get this kind of burn. I see dead trees, but a firestorm would have left sticks. There'd be no leaves on it. That's your fire. The leaves, like in California. All that they're clearing out. Now it has to go to the local dumps somewhere. Fall into the dumps. See what they're dumping. You're eliminating evidence. Here's your trees in the background.
It's the same thing.
No, it's the same.
We can prove that this is not natural. Then maybe the insurance companies will turn over and they'll have to pay, and we can change this.
Garbage can and the wood to the left, whatever that wood was for. Didn't burn up. Where'd the fire come from to burn the house? It hadn't come through the forest. Everybody knows about this. These are the umbrellas. This is synthetics. I mean, if you got flying embers, where's the holes? And if they are flying, they're not the normal fires we know of that will burn synthetics. Or something else. So there's your palm, there's your synthetics. Building's gone. It's just metals. These things didn't burn up. Nothing. I mean, nothing added up. When I see forest fires, the trees are burned up, the needles are gone, the twigs are gone, many of the branches are gone. Sometimes the trunk is burned down halfway or all the way to a low stump, and even holes in the ground. That's the way they burn. No exception. They don't need their needles on there. With their needles on there, how do we even call it a forest fire? The forest didn't burn. I saw this picture on the internet from a drone, possibly. And I see these buildings, a Jack in the Box, McDonald's, and a gas station. And
there's nothing wrong with that, actually. It's a log cabin, too.
But what I see is the trees. You don't see the forest burn, but yet houses are, and some of these materials don't burn. What is going on here? And many of the fire captains and other workers have said, we've never seen fires like this, or the fires were so hot we couldn't even get close to them to put them out. And they were also very hard to put
great
out.
homestead
I
house.
believe most of these fires are microwave based. They're not normal
Yep.
wood fires that we know of. Many materials will not burn. Same stuff exactly.
Well, it's only 2 acres.
No different. All the same.
Gotta have more than that.
Things that don't make sense. Here, a home's on fire and nothing else. And I believe that's because of all the metals, whether they're ferrous or non-ferrous, that are in a house. These things get hit.
They burn, and it's rare to see a tree burn or any plant unless it's in very close proximity to the house.
Kind of wild, right? I mean, let's chalk this up to opinions and just theories. Wild theories. All right. Fire to me doesn't look that way. I am considering painting my roof blue. 60,000 people homeless. Some speculation on what's going in there into that area. The world we live in, pretty wild. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Please share this out. I hope it gets out. Make sure you guys notification bell still hit on. You might have to unsubscribe.
Yeah, guys, it's getting
because a lot of people telling me they ain't getting
So-
notifications these days, which yeah, go figure, right?
the best possible thing is to
So
get
stay tuned, keep prepping for learning. See you on the next.
get your homesteads. Get that second property. Things are just getting right down to the nitty-gritty. It's honestly getting kind of terrifying, to be honest. Start looking for your second homestead, for your second property, maybe a third, if it's possible. I've got to look into full-time artistry for sure. I don't know. I might have to go to school for it. I don't know. I don't know if that would help me like get into the full-time industry. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look into it. Times are tough right now. But you gotta have your homestead. You're gonna have to have a second, maybe a third property. I know it's a money thing. I mean, it's a huge money thing for us. I mean, I don't know where the money's gonna come from for us. All I can do is pray about it and look into becoming a full-time artist. Because I mean, I don't even know if people are going to be able and willing to buy unless I can get my paintings to the wealthy, and I don't have to work on that. So I don't know. In the meantime, I'm also going to be working on the store. I'm going to contact a friend of mine from church. They do have a business. And see if they can help us get our business started. That'll help. I think what I'm going to do is I'm definitely going to look into a property up north and a property in Pennsylvania. If, we can get good on our business and my paintings, I'll get a property up north and in Pennsylvania and then maybe another one somewhere else. So we have the places. I'm going to have to really hope, really pray that God helps Aaron to understand what's going on and how important it is to be mobile. Anyway, I'm also going to have to look into getting an older truck. Things are getting real, you guys. Get your seeds. I can't stress how important that is. And I haven't been ordering any, but I haven't really had to. There are some I really want to order because there's certain ones I really do want. Like the dragon tongue beans. I love those beans. And some of the other, different type, especially beans, like the Chinese long red noodle beans, the yard long beans. I do have the Armenian cucumbers, but we're just gonna have to get your seeds, get water, get your water figured out, get your homesteads, have those second places to go if necessary, size down. we're going to have to look at a camper trailer. I don't know. I'm going to get off from here because it's almost 2 hours. Like and share these videos. You guys, please get them out there. Get them out there to everybody. I can't do one in the morning tomorrow. I'll do one tomorrow later on because Aaron does have to work tomorrow. So early afternoon, something like that. Probably after I get him to work and get the kitten fed. So I am definitely going to be working on getting other videos out today as much as possible because this information is vital. Work on getting your homesteading books. Just get this stuff going. It's so important. But like and share the videos. Make sure you're still subscribed. Click on the notification bell to make sure you get, and click on all to make sure you get all the notifications. Share them with everybody because YouTube is being stupid. Just get the videos out there. Share them with everybody. Get your information, do your research, get your homesteads going. Gardens, you can plant a fall garden. And I will see you guys in the next video. Take it easy. Try not to get overwhelmed. It's really easy to do, but get on what you need to get on. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.